Metropolis. The cops got their hands full today. Metro Police got their gunmen pinned down, but they got hostages. Lives are at risk and the police are still waiting for a negotiator or special crimes unit to arrive. But inside the building, 4 heavily armed gunmen are ready to go to war with the law. The light goes off and the House of El Sigil is all they see before everything went black. Moments later, Luthor emerges from the building with the unconscious gunmen. Everything is under control, Luthor informs the police. Upstate, Clark and his family are just starting to settle into their new home when the TV comes on. Lex Luthor has announced that their Superman is dead, but Metropolis will still have a protector, because Lex Luthor will be their Superman. Clark did not think twice. He leaps into action and dons a classic red and blue. With the sun cheering him on, Clark flies off to the city because Metropolis needs a real Superman. Metropolis. Luthor continues his announcement to the world that he will be replacing the Man of Steel. But suddenly, the real Steel arrives. Luthor is in disbelief. Superman is dead. This Superman appears older, wiser, and more confident. Clark demands for the return of the red cape and the removal of his house sigil from Luthor's armor, but the billionaire smirks at his foe. Well, Clark will remove it for him. The armor's defense is activated and sends an enormous jolt of energy into the body of Clark. He has been provoked, so Clark attacks the billionaire while his wife and son watches the action from home. Meanwhile, on the streets below, Jimmy Olsen observes the fight of the day between 2 men who claims to be Superman. But then a man resembling his pal, Clark, marches by stating that he is the real deal. This amuses Luthor even further. 2 men claiming to be a dead man. Above the battle between supers, a few gunmen escape with their prize, but the coffin begins to rattle. It explodes with whatever it is inside raging towards the street. Luthor halts his attack on the Man of Steel and Clark Kent is in disbelief. This cannot be. Doomsday has returned! Metropolis. Jimmy Olsen has the best seat in the house as he witnesses Clark Kent, Superman, Doomsday, and Super Lex all in the same place at the same time. Doomsday strikes at Luthor, giving Superman a chance to charge directly at his new foe. Meanwhile, Mr. Oz watches the event unfold behind the scene. Uptown, Lois and her boy can see through the broadcast that a new villain is attacking Luthor and Superman. Lois is concerned. She has seen this creature before. John sees a civilian that looks just like her father. Everything is just too confusing for Lois, and she breaks down in tears. Back at the center of the brawl, Superman fights with all of his might. This isn't a cyborg or a hologram. It smells, it fights, and it growls just like the Doomsday that ended the Man of Steel. But this creature is faster and more vicious than the one he once fought. Superman is losing. But suddenly, Lex Luthor gets between the dog and his bone. Luthor came to the aid of the Man of Steel. This gives Superman another chance. He tackles Doomsday and brings the fight to outer space, where no more collateral damage can be caused. But Doomsday stops him in midair. The two falls towards Earth while exchanging titanic blows at one another. Collateral damage is unavoidable as Superman gets flung straight into a newscopter. A train holding innocent bystanders gets derailed and hurled towards the pavement, but Superman saves the day. His hands are tied, so it's time for Luthor to test his mettle. He converges upon the creature given everything he's got, which allows his new comrade to save the train. The passengers safely escaped the damaged train, but Superman took too long away from what's important. With his apocalyptic armor ripped, Luthor is beaten. Superman won't make it in time, but Mr. Oz isn't giving up hope. Mr. Oz waits for Superman's next move, because this will determine what this mysterious man will do next. When she first heard of Doomsday, he was only another monster that needed to be stopped. Until this creature ripped through the Justice League without breaking a sweat. The battle between her husband and this monster ended in disaster. The day was won, but her love paid the ultimate price. Clark came back to her a few months later. Now, despite the fact that they are in a different world, this monster is here, and is happening all over again. But things are slightly different now. She can't be there for Clark because her child needs her. John demands answers of how the last fight ended. Lois can't tell her son that his father died fighting the same creature. But she does allow him some time to check on his father's progress. Metropolis. The civilians normally stand their ground because Superman saves the day, but today is different. It is a war zone and everyone is evacuating the city. Jimmy yells at his pal Clark to fly over there, but Clark is persistent. He informs Olsen that he isn't Superman. He never had those powers and he is just a normal human being. Superman is fighting alongside Luthor. They are clearly two different people. Jimmy cannot force Clark's hand, so he prays that the heroes of Metropolis can stop this rampaging creature. Elsewhere, Luthor is exhausted, crawling away from his attacker, but Superman has returned. He tackles Doomsday and gives it everything he's got. Superman knows what is at risk, so he makes every punch count, but will it be enough to stop this catastrophic force of monstrosity? Doomsday now got civilians in his crosshairs, but Superman relentlessly attacks his foe. He tackles Doomsday into the sewers. Superman doesn't like it, but one of his greatest villains is actually helping him clear the area of bystanders. Luthor has been an invaluable source of aid in this war zone. The civilian Clark Kent gets too close and he falls into the sewers. His arm is busted, so he cannot get out. Superman sees Clark Kent and says that he will do everything he can to get this man to safety. Clark demands to talk with Superman. He says that they have met before, but Superman does not know what this man is talking about. He agrees that they both need answers, but after the threat at hand has been immobilized. With the help of apocalyptic technology, the Mother Box, Luthor's armor repaired itself and he is ready to brawl. But Superman demands for Luthor to save the civilians. A few words were exchanged, but Superman won the argument. Luthor will comply. For now. Superman re-engages the creature while Luthor takes a civilian Clark Kent to safety. A bus arrives to take the injured out of the city. Luthor suggests for Clark to get in, but the reporter won't miss out on the story of the year. Superplex is baffled. Does this man truly think that he is only Clark Kent? Back at the sewers, a battle between titans continues. Superman knows to not let Doomsday in close, so he throws the creature to the wall and releases a devastating amount of solar beam directly at Doomsday. The creature is pinned down, but he found a gas line. An explosion left behind a crater the size of a small island. The civilian Clark Kent found himself separated from his group. He sees a shadow. Superman? No. It is Doomsday! The civilian Clark Kent found himself in a very peculiar situation. He was looking for the savior, but instead he found the creature of doom. Doomsday raises his mighty fist to smash Clark Kent, but Wonder Woman arrives in the nick of time to rescue the civilian. Out of harm's way, Diana demands for Clark to get to safety. But still, the man would not leave a story this big. Superman blew out of the ground to re-engage the monster. He relentlessly beats his foe with an intensity that would match the Flash's speed force. The creature grabs hold of Superman, but Wonder Woman intervenes. It is now a 2-on-1 fight. Diana believes that Superman is responsible for his non-powered doppelganger's presence, but Superman is as shocked as she was at the civilian's involvement. But they got much more important things to take care of, so Superman picks up a bus and rams it directly into Doomsday. Elsewhere, after a proud cheer, the son of Superman accidentally broke the window and the TV. Luckily, there is still a signal to the television. The broadcaster announces that the monster somehow disappeared. Back at Metropolis, the heroes regroup. After Superman's last attack, Doomsday vanished. Superman knows that this is a strange move for the monster, but the people of the city are safe and Luthor has returned. He looks to the civilian Clark Kent, and then he looks to Superman. Luthor demands answers. Superman explains that Doomsday is the ultimate being able to survive anything. After 250,000 years of evolution, Doomsday is trained to hate all life, especially Kryptonian. At this same time, Lois figured it out. Not only can Doomsday sense Kryptonians, he hunts them as well. Superman now realizes why Doomsday left the battle. The creature is after his son. The Man of Steel races back home while his wife and son drives away from Metropolis. Lois and John didn't get too far before the arrival of Wonder Woman and Superman. The family is reunited, and Diana could not be happier. But Lois understands that this Wonder Woman shared a romance with her Superman. Diana's heart is true, and she can feel the love in this family. Her love is gone, and she made peace with that. Diana guards the area to give the family some time to chat. Clark holds his family tight. As a father, he needs to stay. What is more important than family? But Lois will not allow it. As hard as it is for her, she knows that Superman belongs to the world, and right now, the world needs a hero more than ever. It sounded like an explosion, and John is the first to see Doomsday and Wonder Woman engaging in a battle to the death. The last son of Krypton is needed. This world's Wonder Woman came to his aid. Now, it's time to return the favor. Metropolis. Luthor is left to clean up the mess because Superman and Wonder Woman left the city chasing that monster. No matter. Lex Luthor will save the day, even if that means he won't be there to see the main fight. Luthor braces the building before it collapses, while the civilian Clark Kent stands idly by to witness. But suddenly, parts of the building crumbled off and begins to fall towards the innocent civilians. A gush of red and blue saves the day, leaving Luthor baffled. Clark Kent brings forth a discovery. He found the crashed ship that brought Doomsday. Luthor has worked with every known alloy, and yet he has never seen anything like this before. The immediate threat has passed, but the monster is still out there. Elsewhere, Mr. Oz observes a Lex Luthor Superman, a human Clark Kent, and now a super-powered Lois Lane in action. More players to the game. Upstate, Wonder Woman stabs Doomsday in the stomach, but that did not faze him. With one kick, Doomsday sends Diana flying across the field, but Superman arrives. He maintains the pressure by continuing to punch the beast. Before, he died protecting Metropolis, but now, the life of his wife and child is at stake. So, Superman will give it his all to destroy this threat. But Doomsday got the upper hand again, and he throws Superman into the ground. He pulls out Diana's sword and hurls it into the horizon, but John is in the way. Wonder Woman saved the life of Superman's son, but there is no time to waste. She binds the beast with her lasso, but even that will not hold him down. Wonder Woman gets overpowered, but Superman comes crashing down on Doomsday. Again, the monster overpowers the last son of Krypton. With the lasso, Doomsday will choke the life out of Superman in front of his son and wife. John will not stand by to watch his father die. His laser vision stunned the beast, giving enough time for Superman to throw an earth-shattering punch directly at his foe. The family now has a few moments before the return of Doomsday. Wonder Woman states that they need the entire Justice League to stop the monster, but Superman states that there is no time. He wants Diana to take his family to safety. She does not want to leave her comrade alone with that monster, but she will do as he wishes. Lois will not leave her husband behind. She knows what this monster is capable of. If things don't go right, she needs to be there. But Clark demands that she leave with Wonder Woman for John. The son doesn't understand why his father must face this monster alone. John can help. He has heat vision. But a father's word is final. They share a hug, and with that, Superman flies off in search of Doomsday. The last son of Krypton found his target a few miles over. Superman begins with a devastating heat blast, which gives them enough cover to get in close. The Man of Steel charged directly at Doomsday's chest then. Clark releases a flurry of punches in an attempt to neutralize his opponent. The Watchtower. Diana brought Superman's family to the safest place that she can think of. Lois asks that they check in with her husband. Diana obliges. They turn on the monitor to see the fight of the century between two powerful titans. In an unknown place, Mr. Oz is finally ready to make a move. His acolyte says that the gate is ready. He replies, "Begin." Back at the brawl, Doomsday again returns the punishment, but this time, the Man of Steel is wearing down. Despite Clark's ferocity, he is losing. His head is spinning and he can no longer see straight. Superman needs a few seconds to gather himself. But that is a luxury that he cannot afford, and for the first time today, Superman has doubts. Suddenly, a blast of yellow stuns the beast. Then a second, and then a third. This is not the Justice League. These people, Superman does not know. Whoever they are, their weapons are effective. This gives Superman a few moments to catch his breath. He thought that Doomsday was the biggest threat. But now, it is clear that there is something bigger at play. The Watchtower. Wonder Woman promised Superman that she will look after his family. Diana is a warrior Amazon. Playing babysitter isn't her forte. She grows more impatient by the minute. Lois draws her attention to the monitor. The brawl between Superman and Doomsday got a bit more crowded. Masked agents are attempting to contain the creature. Their plan? Get Doomsday into the gate so they can beam the creature to their holding facility. They only have seconds before. Doomsday overpowers their machinery, and he punishes those who would be so bold as to think that they can imprison a weapon of pure destruction. Superman got the few moments he needed to catch his breath. He couldn't save the lives of those men who tried to contain his foe. But Superman is back on his feet. He re-engages the monster for another fight to the death. Phase 1 was to take the creature out of the city. Now, it's time for Phase 2. Superman charges at Doomsday towards the predetermined destination. But the beast again overpowers the Kryptonian. Superman tumbles, but he regains his speed. He knows that his attacker is a hunter. It's time to play cat and mouse. Wonder Woman and company observes the battle from the safety of the Justice League watchtower. John is confused. Is his father running away? No, says Diana. Your father wants him to follow. Doomsday caught up with his prey, but the Man of Steel puts up a fight. This is good. Superman is close enough to his destination, so he throws Doomsday as far as he can. Doomsday crash-landed exactly where Superman wanted. His fortress of solitude. The Man of Steel returns home, and he commands his AI to activate the Doomsday defense protocol. The turret begins to unload everything they got of the creature. Full load particle beam as Superman screams. The cannon stuns Doomsday. Superman follows up with a flurry of earth-shattering punches, but the monster will not give him an inch. He won't be able to execute his plan. Doomsday will not stay down. Wonder Woman arrives in the nick of time. She offers much-needed distraction for the Man of Steel to execute his plan. Superman grabs his makeshift Phantom Zone projector, points it directly at Doomsday, and he turns on his weapon. John and Lois screams out in joy. Their hero came out victorious. Wonder Woman is proud to fight beside a Superman once again. Clark is just relieved that it's all over. Metropolis. His city is in disarray, so Luthor is doing what a hero should. He helps in any way that he can. Moments later, Superman returns. The two speaks in private. Superman barely spoke a few words before the billionaire took control of the conversation. He says that he knows what this Superman thinks of him. A criminal. A murderer. But where is the proof? Luthor encourages Superman to look around. It was Luthor who stayed behind to look after the people of Metropolis. These people now look at him as a beacon of hope. Superman, the real Superman, is dead. Lex Luthor is more of a Superman to the city than the man he is currently talking to. Clark White had enough of Luthor's speech. He flies off to check in with his family. Luthor still has plenty of questions as to who this Superman truly is. Luthor is determined, and he will get his answers. Superman returns to the League Watchtower, where he reunites with his family. Mr. Oz observes the entire thing. He offers the congratulations to the Man of Steel for conceiving a plan to send Doomsday to the Phantom Zone. But his efforts are futile because Mr. Oz intercepted the projection, and finally, Doomsday is his. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Comic Island. My name is Joey, and thank you so much for checking out our complete story for Action Comics. So let's jump right into what I thought about this story arc. The beginning was awesome due to the fact that it's established that we will be following post-crisis Superman around. Luthor became the anti-hero figure that I love, and we got writer Dan Jurgens at the steering wheel. This is the guy that brought us the original fight between Superman and Doomsday. He also made it possible for us to have a child between the alien Kal-El and the human Lois Lane. But to be on board with this, you gotta accept the fact that an alien humanoid can have a child with an Earthling. Okay, enough with that. Continuing on. The action was awesome, and we got a wild card thrown into the mix in the form of a normal human, Clark Kent. The ending felt a bit anticlimactic due to the fact that Superman had to use his Phantom Zone machine to win. My memory of the original battle is a bit blurry, so that makes me wonder, why didn't Superman use the Phantom Zone machine during their first fight? Action Comics has been a super fun ride so far, and I'm very happy to say that we will be continuing our coverage of this series moving forward. A playlist will be created so you can follow our coverage in chronological order. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in another Comic Island video.